All right. Hello, everyone. This is Bishara Jowde, your host with Philly Marketing Labs. And today I have the honor of being joined by, from right to left, Trisha Lamb. Hi, Trisha.
Hello, everyone.
All
Good
right.
afternoon. Happy Friday.
Yes. Did you start drinking yet, Trisha?
No, but I've got a bottle waiting for me.
Great.
Bottle of what?
All right. Then we have Tommy Sands. What's up, Tommy?
Good afternoon. Nice to see everybody.
Yep.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Nice. Good to have you.
I swear to God, that was my grandpa talking. What?
Then we have the lady that's sitting on the ground, Kim Kling.
I'm not. I'm in a chair.
Do you have your camera like in the ceiling pointing down at you?
No, it's on my monitor. Good afternoon, everyone.
All right. And then we have Joe Norton. What's up, Joe?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Good. Joe, we should have had you on last week. We were talking about manly beards. Yeah. I felt very, I don't know, not able to carry that conversation. My beard wasn't long enough.
No, it looks like we should have had him on in 7th grade looking at his picture. Like, I'm not sure. Is that from
that was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, fresh out of college, Joe Norton.
Before and after?
Right as I joined PML. Yeah.
Wow. Trisha, your picture is nice. Who took that picture?
That was at a Philly Marketing Labs event that I was taking everybody else's picture, and you felt bad for me, so you grabbed my camera up and
pretty artistic. I like
took
it.
a snapshot.
Cool beans. So for those of you who missed our debut last week, so this is our 2nd episode. Our show still does not have a name, but we have a concept. So our concept right now is edutainment. So it's education and entertainment. So really we come up and with marketing concepts, we discuss them and make fun of each other along the way. So far it's been working. If it gets boring, we'll just introduce liquor into the mix and we'll be set.
Just go full-blown entertainment.
Yep. Full-blown entertainment. Clothing optional. I don't know. Is that allowed on Google?
No.
No, we can't do Hangouts on air.
Well, they do Naked and Afraid.
There's other streaming sites for those. Yeah.
We'll have to change platforms. That's cool. So we have a couple nice topics today, marketing related. Google has recently rolled out home services ads, also known as HSAs, here in the Philadelphia market. They were piloting them on the West Coast, I believe, last year, and they just rolled them into Pennsylvania and Philadelphia specifically. I know, Kim, you've been doing some research on those. What the heck are HSAs?
Yeah, I don't want to call them a new format because they've actually been around for a few years now.
Kim's going to go like this next. She's like leaning back. Let me tell you about HSAs.
Sit back and let me tell you a story. No, but they're really Google's throwing their hat into like the home service ads area, like really trying to compete with like Yelp and Amazon and Home Advisor and all of those different in-home service type of companies. And so they rolled out home service ads really a few years ago. They've been around for a while, but like you mentioned, they were kind of really piloted in the California area, San Francisco, San Diego, and now they're across just certain verticals, like locksmiths, appliance repair, HVAC companies. And so they're starting to kind of expand those out into new areas, like you mentioned, into Philadelphia, and expanded the verticals. That they're starting.
So are these special ads that show up in Google, or what are they? Like, just can you just
so they're run through AdWords Express. So it's a very it's very local centric. So they're run through AdWords Express, and these ads do show up in Google. They show up at the top of search results in like a panel. So there's like generally like on a desktop there'll be 3 different ads that show up across the top, and so they don't take you to the website. They actually take you to what they call like a portal that's like a Google profile page where a potential client has the opportunity to either message the business or call the business. And then from that point, the advertiser themselves has like their own app, like a portal where they manage these leads.
So it's like a lead form. So someone searches for plumber in Philadelphia. instead of, they'll see these boxes, 3 boxes that are almost essentially calls to action that takes you to a lead form that you fill out. And then underneath that, you still see our regular ads, the AdWords search ads, and then the organic and the map or whatever shows up will be in that same mix.
Well, so it doesn't necessarily take you directly to a lead form. It takes you to kind of like what they call a portal page, where you can select from the different services that the advertiser offers, see their areas that they service, and then from that point on, you can select to message that advertiser or call them.
Gotcha. So, I mean, if I was an advertiser in AdWords, right, we have a lot of companies like HVAC and appliance repairs that we represent and run marketing for. How are they going to feel when they see that, Joe the plumber, single shingle dude that has his own truck and does repairs, suddenly through a self-managed platform like AdWords Express can suddenly put an ad that may precede ads that we are paying to manage? Like, how are our clients going to be allowed into that program? How is that going to shake out?
Well, it's still kind of like a pilot / whitelist or invite only. So there is a form that you can fill out with Google to request access to the platform, and then Google will determine whether or not the advertiser seems like a good fit for that. So, and then there's a vetting process that the advertiser has to go through to confirm, that they have licensing, that they've got insurance, and they're bonded. All of their in-house employees, anybody that's going to be visiting someone's house has to go through a background check. So there's a process that people have to go through to be able to be allowed.
That's a big difference, right? So Angie's List, you don't have to do that. Home Advisor, you don't have to do that. And what I mean when I say that you don't have to do that, as a service provider, you don't have to go through a background check. You don't have to be insured and bonded. You don't have to do any of those things. So really, Google is validating that these people, Kim, you're not muted. So Google is validating that these companies are legitimate and allowing them entry into the program. So that's really good.
Yeah. And what's really neat is that all the advertisers that get through that vetting process get a Google guaranteed badge that shows up within their profile and on their ads. So it really, it's like kind of a lends trust, to the advertiser.
Cool. All right. Sounds like Brian has something to say. Maybe he wants to join us.
Summer's fun.
The HSA program is very exciting for children.
I remember a time where, I don't know who it was a friend that wanted to play a trick on another friend, and they called a plumber, they called a roofer, I think a painter, all these different people to show up at their friend's house to give them a quote. So that everybody showed up like at noon, and like they had all these people knocking on the door. So at that time, it would have been really easy for him just look up painter,
I like it. So this is, I think, so for April Fool's Day, we should just go on HSAs and just order people a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it makes it really easy just at your fingertips, just to be able to have these people.
Prank people. I like it.
I'm sure those advertisers will be super keen to know clicking their ads and making them pay for your pranks.
Well, actually, this brings up a great concept here, because with HSAs across the board, really on any platform, the consumer rates the service provider. Maybe another evolution of this, like I don't even know if you need to be logged into your Google account to request some of these quotes. I wonder if the service provider will then be able to review you as a consumer, kind of like Uber
does it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I just found out my Uber score is like 4.2, which makes no sense. I'm a great tipper.
Wait a minute. Didn't you pay for my Uber one time? That's
go to the airport. What did you do to the driver?
She lowered your score.
No, seriously, I took an Uber over the weekend, and now you can, in the app now you can tip, which is a new thing I wasn't aware of, and you can see your score now. And I noticed my score is like very close to 4, not close to 5, which I thought is where I should be. So yeah.
Do you need like therapy or a hug or something?
Well, I don't know. Like I always think that I'm really nice to the drivers. So it was like a reality check. Maybe I need to be even nicer. We'll see.
Or not
But now I'm realizing that both Tommy and Trisha use my Uber account when they're going to the airport for client meetings. So it may not be me. So that's interesting. Now, on another front, though, when you start thinking about it, HSAs are another step, and HSAs again stands for Home Services Ads. It's another step for Google unifying your web presence in a sense, right? There are other areas where I feel we've had similar discussions where Google has taken over.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that kind of popped into my mind was in a similar way, the way, the AMP pages and the AMP evolution sort of works, right? So in that case, and that's a new approach to creating the most, apparently the most mobile-friendly experiences by creating these web pages that are based around this AMP technology and philosophy.
So AMP is Accelerated Mobile Pages, right? That's what that stands for.
Yep.
Right. And for those who don't know, AMP pages or Accelerated Mobile Pages, this is where you write your page in a certain syntax, and then Google crawls it and clones it onto their server. So really, Google is serving your page to mobile users, so it loads very fast, almost instantaneously on their devices. But yet they still don't get the full experience of your website. They're still essentially not on your site. They're still on Google's infrastructure, right?
Yeah, and that was sort of the kind of the connecting point between AMP and what we're talking about here is, again, from the user experience side, and potentially there's interesting philosophical questions that could sort of come up too. But you're no longer needing a website for that experience, right? The user goes to their Google search. They say, my floor is flooded, my pipe is broken, I need somebody now. And they see these new options presented to them. There's fancy Google badges there that say they're trusted.
Yep.
The average consumer is not going to know the vetting process. They're going to react to what they see when they do their search. That sort of stuff, the lots of stars. I think consumers, we've all become accustomed to trusting other people's judgment.
Yeah. Stars are good.
Stars are good. Right? Matches are good. Approval is good. Google is God, and when they say you're good, you're good.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in the stars, like they show right up in the ads as well as on the profile. So it's like there really is a lot of like trust factor that goes into these new ads.
I feel like with this move that Google's really going to war with Angie's List and these kinds of sites because they're the search engine, they can get these home service ads right into the flow before they even have a chance to see, the Home Advisor listings or Angie's List ads even. They're really stepping in there right in between.
Yeah, I mean, Google came out with what was it called? The ZMOT, Zero Moment of Truth, right? And that's the flashpoint when the customer is asking the question and they're looking to make that conversion. And listen, they didn't misrepresent. Google always wanted to bring companies and advertisers closer to that zero moment of truth, and by not letting them have to click on the ad or the organic listing, go to the website, hope for a good conversion process on the website when you land on it. Because let's face it, some companies have horrendous websites. I mean, I've gone to companies and proactively tried to figure out a way to reach them and contact them, and it's been impossible. So kind of democratizing the conversion essentially, or the conversion optimization of those pages by taking what Google knows best and bringing it to the zero moment of truth. That's a good thing, but what are the consequences of that? What are we giving up? And what is
it's almost like they don't trust you to make the conversion yourself, right? They want to control the portal, they want to control the landing page, they want to control the JavaScript on it so it loads at the right speed. They don't trust you with it. They'll maximize it so that way they can maximize your spend on their platform, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think eventually you see they want to get involved in that payment transaction too, right? I'm logged in through the browser, through my phone. I have Google Wallet. There's some services that are pretty cut and dry. All right, $50 for a tune-up. Yep, pay here. And
is that bad, Tommy? Like what?
I don't think it's bad. I embrace that connected lifestyle.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with it. I find more benefits than faults, but I think it's scary to some people. I think that's fair. It's a fair fair way to feel.
No one knows Tommy's dark secrets like Google does.
Oh no.
You know, I'm just a small tangent here. Tommy and I spent like 2 days doing channel research for one of our feminine hygiene product clients, and we were trying to find channels that appeal to 16 to 14 to 18-year-old girls.
Girls, yeah.
Yeah, so Google, like seriously, I need to make an agreement with someone to like wipe my search history if something was to happen, or they're gonna think I'm a big pervert.
It's very suspect.
So Tommy is okay with Google knowing that about him, right? You sleep well at night.
I sleep fine. But you know, there's so many more things that come out of you sharing that information, right? It's not just, and it's clever of them because initially Google captures this data because they want to use it for advertising, right? It makes our lives easier to target audiences for our clients.
Right. Our lives, meaning not as normal people, as marketers, correct? Yes. But what is the side effect here? So let's put our business owner hat on. So say you're the plumber or you're the electrician. What is the impact of that? So what is happening here? Like, how much are you going to be relying on Google, and what are the consequences if you stopped paying, stopped advertising, decided to change course here?
I suppose, you know, it's the don't put all your eggs in one basket situation.
It's the biggest freaking basket, dude.
Right. And I think, you know, a lot of businesses are actually maybe facing this in a sense now, but the more that you give control, right, the more keys you give to Google, you know, the potential is always there. If something goes wrong, you know, and you're relying on the constant flow of business through a single channel, right? Which is why we always talk about diversification, multiple channel approaches, right? Holistic approaches. Yep. You rely on one thing for any approach, especially for marketing your business and driving leads and sales. There's an absolute risk there. If it goes down, you might go down. And what is the impact of not having sales for a couple of days or 24 hours or a week or more, right? What does that do to you as a business owner, right? Pretty detrimental.
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah,
huge.
I mean, right. I mean, and this is a pilot, so this could evaporate next week, and they could pull the plug on it. So this could, putting all your eggs in one basket could be a real big mistake.
That said, one of the advantages of being one of the first people on a new platform is that it's there's such little competition that it's almost like an arbitrage opportunity. It's almost like free profit because, you know, who's bidding against you? You know, for this type of thing, and especially with how rigid the certification process is, just creates even more barriers to entry for other people. So if you can get yourself on the right side of that, get into the platform early, if it survives, you know, if it doesn't get completely rewritten by Google, then you could see yourself with a good head start.
Yeah, that's great.
Can you see who's bidding against you? Are you able to see that?
I don't know that we can see that in this platform. So we would have like auction insights, so you could get an idea of like who was in the auction with you. I don't know that we're going to be able to see that with home service ads just yet.
You can get a sense from just the regular search results, though, Tricia.
Yeah, just looking to see who's coming up against you. But I believe this is a cost per lead play, right? It's not cost per click. Correct?
This is cost per lead. Yeah.
Per lead, yeah. So I think the cost per leads will be set. It will be set by the advertiser. But to Joe's point, as a first mover advantage here, or a first adopter or an early adopter, the advantage here is not only that the ecosystem or the marketplace is not as crowded when you first enter it. Also, I believe by the side effect of a not so crowded ecosystem is that you're going to get a lot of leads. And when you get a lot of leads, you're going to get a lot of reviews. And the number of reviews will then benefit you in your ranking and your conversion rate, essentially. Yeah. So it's a self-perpetuating machine when you definitely, if this is an area where you play, if you're a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC person, an appliance repair company, any of those home services type companies, it definitely is an advantage to jump on.
That's a really good point. With reviews, there's definitely a snowball effect where you start getting a couple of reviews. There's no one else there. You end up way ahead of everyone else. And once you're at the top of the charts, it's easy to stay there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And you see that with Amazon products. I mean, when you hit a certain critical mass of reviews, And I know on Amazon that's like 30 reviews. When you hit that mark and you're running 4.5 stars and higher, it will be your own barrier to entry for others, and that's a good game to be in. That's awesome. So speaking of first mover advantage or early adopter in this case, I was having this debate over the weekend of first mover advantage in business in general, and if this is if it's a first mover's disadvantage, or if it's an illusion, or if it's not. So I know, Joe, you follow business strategy and that kind of thing. Can you talk a little bit about what traditionally we have considered a first mover's advantage?
Yeah, so this was kind of a classic thing that they teach you in business school. Excuse me. And, you know, during the 90s and early 2000s, startups were really tripping over themselves over this theory, which was first mover was the idea that if you could be the first person to come out with a product or a service or a platform, you know, with a unique technology, then you could you know, develop fast enough that you would get enough of a head start that no one else could catch up to you. And that was kind of believed, and that was funded heavily on the premise that it doesn't matter if you're not profitable. You know, it doesn't matter if it's unproven, the technology. You know, if you're first, you know, we can make something out of that. And that's kind of fallen away. It's more better understood now as the kind of first to scale. Really what it's about is getting the economies of scale that come from getting into a market early and getting all the learnings and, you know, ironing out the failure points. That's really what it's about. So sometimes it can be the first person in a market who does those things, but often it's not. And there's example after example throughout American industry where that was not the case, where people entered a market big, and then they kind of slowly got swept aside by people who were newcomers, but they were able to take advantage of all the, you know,
learnings, right? And
yeah, all the
education.
learnings, all the missteps. Just even sometimes what happens, it's early employees end up leaving that first company, making new companies, and then they end up overtaking.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really interesting case.
Yeah,
So,
it is. Go ahead, Tommy.
So it's almost like it may seem like if you were the first to really nail it, right? To get the great engagement, or right, like I know you're talking about examples, Joe, but one maybe that's not so industrial in a sense, but more tech, but it might be part of that '90s thing, right? Is like Facebook. So there was Friends. There was,
yeah, not the first social network. Yeah,
right. They weren't the first one, but they clearly did something better and
yep,
convinced the masses that this was the right one, and it definitely wasn't the first. So it's like the first to master the you know what's the solution for the problem we're trying what we're trying to fill, or go ahead.
So there's a problem solution, right? And the first to market is who brings the solution first. But I think what we're saying here is the first person to innovate that solution is the one that truly has the advantage. And I think that's what Facebook did, right? Like MySpace came in, and they captured a market share, but they were and I don't even know if MySpace was truly the first social network or not, but they were the first one to be known and scale. And then they stagnated. I mean, MySpace didn't really innovate at all, and they just were happy with what they were getting, kind of like an email platform, just send and receive emails, and life is good. There's no innovation. And they stayed, and then Facebook came in and started amplifying and doing new cool things, and they overshadowed MySpace very quickly.
You hit the nail on the head with the target user. And
yeah.
You know, another tech example of this was books.com. So I'm sure no one really knows books.com right now, but they were the first online bookstore. So in a sense, they were the first mover there. But what happened was Jeff Bezos was working on Wall Street at the time, and he saw, you know, that internet use was up like, 2,000%. Whatever, decided to enter the industry, and that's where he wanted to enter it. He learned from what books.com did, and that's, part of the story of how we ended up with Amazon. Right now, they're much more than a bookstore, but that's where they started. Yeah.
Right. That's really impressive. Yeah.
Like, let somebody else come up with the idea. Let them work through the harsh times.
Yeah. Right. So, do all the dirty work.
So another one is online ads. So you guys, this is your industry. We just spent a while talking about HSAs. Well, Google didn't invent that, the whole search engine serving ads thing. Actually, there was Overture that did that. But we don't Overture things when we want to understand what they are. We Google them. Google is the one that won out, and that's the dominant platform of today.
Well, even search engines. I mean, just the search engine to begin with, Google was not the first search engine.
Yeah.
But they were the first to scale it and really introduce an innovative algorithm that returned more relevant search results, and they were adopted very quickly. So that's really interesting, and it's sad in a sense, because as someone that is an inventor or somebody who was able to see through through all the obstacles of creating a solution and bringing it to market, to go through the troubles and the blood, sweat, and tears to make something happen, and then to have somebody waltz in after you've demolished all the barriers to entry.
Yeah.
I mean, think of Uber, right? Uber was sued by almost every country. They had to lobby every government, local and federal. They had to fight the mob-run taxi operation in New York City. They had to fight the casinos in Las Vegas. I mean, they literally fought wars to make Uber a viable platform and to bring transportation to where it stands right now. There are cities that can't operate without Uber. I don't know, what was it? Austin shut down Uber for 6 months, and there was chaos everywhere. And then they did an executive order to allow them in. I'm not sure on Austin, but one of the cities that happened to, to go through all that and then have Lyft and other local companies just waltz in, not only
coattails.
Yeah, exactly. Not only from a regulatory and political perspective, right? So they demolished those barriers, but even from technology. So I was in where was I? In Oklahoma, and now I was telling you guys earlier, Oklahoma has its own Uber-esque system, which is called something completely different, run by a local entrepreneur there. And it's an Uber for that little town. And the app looks identical to Uber. So even from a technology perspective, you can copy the way it works. And so it's pretty much a business in a box that someone handed to you. It's almost like a franchise opportunity when it comes to tech.
You know what? You know what it reminds me of is in sports, in racing sports, the theory of drafting. Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Oh, right.
You want to be in first because there are some advantages to being first. You know, you can kind of keep your pace, yada, yada, yada. But there are some big disadvantages. And one of them is that you're dealing with all the wind resistance, right?
Yep.
The people right behind you, they're staying behind you in your profile. The wind's wicking by them, you know.
Yep. They're saving fuel. They're saving tires. Right?
Once you're tired, then they whip out in front. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a great analogy, Joe. Yeah, so I think we're running out of time, but it just hit me that we didn't introduce anybody on this call. We call you their names, but you don't know who does what. So I don't know. You want to start, Joe? Tell us a little what you do at PML.
My name is Joe Norton. I'm a partner here at PML. Primarily do development and kind of other random marketing things.
Great. Yeah, we all wear a lot of hats. Kim, what about you?
Partner and head the paid search department here at PML.
It's awesome. Tommy.
I'm Tommy. I fill out Excel sheets.
I do that too.
Very, very important Excel sheet. He doesn't fill out Excel sheets. Tommy runs paid search for one of our largest clients and manages a lot of YouTube ad spends as well. One day we're going to talk about YouTube, Tommy, and you're going to educate us on everything.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, maybe next episode. We didn't hear a lot about Trisha. I think she came with the sole objective of talking about her mom, like she capitalized on that in the previous episode, but she didn't get a chance to.
No. Oh, I am Trisha Lamb, and I manage all of the MySpace accounts.
Come on, seriously.
She's a superstar.
I feel like I need to go update my MySpace. I'm designer, and I do web, octopus, marketing department, have several arms kind of thing.
Oh, I was wondering where you were going with the octopus approach.
I don't
know. All right. And I am your host, Bishara Jaude, partner at PML. And I hope to see you next time. Don't forget to sign up and like this video. If you have any topics you'd like us to debate and banter about, write them in the comment right down here, Tommy.
In the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends, share. Catch you next time.
Tell your mom.
All right, guys.
Tell your mom.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.